Hello and welcome to Finextra. I'm Emily Haller at Payments UK's Cybersecurity and Fraud Seminar, and I'm joined by Uri Rivner of Biocatch. Thank you very much, Uri.
Thank you very much.
One of the most prevalent forms of cyber attack is remote administration tools, or RATs. How are fraudsters using these tools?
So let's understand what a RAT is, remote administration tool. Essentially, if you ever had this situation where a help desk is helping you, the help desk is saying, hey, can I take over your computer for a couple of minutes? I'll just check things in the computer. You need to approve it, obviously, and then you see the mouse moving on the screen and applications being used. Imagine all of that, but now you don't see anything. No one is asking your permission, and no one is asking you to do anything, and you don't see the mouse moving on the screen. It's all happening behind the scenes. That's essentially a RAT attack, remote administration tool. And essentially, what the fraudsters will do is trick you to download any kind of Trojan, and this is happening. It has been happening for a while, right? A Trojan horse that has remote access or remote administration capability. And then what they'll do is they'll silently collect all of your credentials. Once they're ready with your credentials, they'll just open a browser from your computer, right? They just connect to your computer, open a browser, go to the bank. They know all of your credentials, and then they can just do the fraud. Now, it's something that they know the banks cannot detect at this point, and therefore they allow themselves to, spend a lot of time in your account, move a lot of money if they can. The average sort of fraud is far higher than any kind of existing attack. The other thing is you can use a Trojan that comes with this sort of functionality, remote access functionality, which is a standard protocol. It's in every operating system. You have it in PC, you have it in Mac, you have it in Android, for example. But the other thing is that you can also call the user, pose as the bank or some sort of company, third party, a trusted third party, say that there is a problem, and then ask them to install it in the remote access in order to actually fix it, right? Posing as a help desk. And some people actually do that, so it's another way to get that attack into their computer. Bottom line, it's something that is very difficult to detect, and the fraudsters know that, so they kind of afford a very lengthy spend of time inside the victim's account.
So how sophisticated is this malware, and how big a threat is it for financial institutions?
If you ask financial institutions today, online banking institutions, for example, that's the number one problem that they're facing today. Part of the reason is that over time, the fraudsters have developed, a growing level of sophistication in their attacks. The first attacks that happened, 2003, 2004, were phishing attacks. In 2005, the first sort of Trojan attacks, very, very simple Trojans. Against these attacks, the banks have a good defense mechanism, which is to understand if the transaction, if the login is coming from your own device or from a new device. Okay. Typically, if it's just stealing the credentials and then the fraudster will use their own device, you can catch that way. So that's like one line of defense. After several years, Trojans became more sophisticated, and Many the Browser came up. Many the Browser allows the attacker to automatically basically wait until you log in and then send money from your account, essentially emptying your account, okay, without any human intervention. So that was a kind of a jump in the capabilities of the Trojans, and for that the industry developed an active malware component, a malware detection component that actually tries to trick the Trojan, to bait the Trojan to reveal itself, because the Trojan, in order to do that, need to inject a lot of information into the page. Remote access is the next generation of attacks, and it's essentially eliminating these lines of defense. It's coming from your device, so device recognition will not do anything. And it's not doing anything proactive. It's not injecting any code or anything. It's just leveraging the basic remote access functionality, so there's no way to actually detect it. Therefore, the banks are really concerned about these sort of attacks.
So to combat remote administration tools, companies are increasingly looking towards cognitive traits to profile users. Yeah. How radical are these developments?
So it's quite a radical development. It's quite a dramatic development in the marketplace, because the banks don't have good solutions against these sort of advanced attacks, remote access attacks known as rat in the browser. And basically looking at the way people normally behave, looking at things like how do they navigate inside the page, how do you move between fields, do you use the tab, do you use the mouse, how do you correct typos, these sort of things, and also your hand-eye coordination. Typically the banks would use that to build almost like a profile of your regular behavior and see if something is different. But specifically, if an attacker is using remote access, there are a lot of parameters here that will be broken because of the remote access connection. Certainly hand-eye coordination is going to be completely broken. broken because of that. So basically, the introduction of these sort of technologies is quite a change in the way banks are facing these sort of sophisticated attacks.
Uri, thank you for speaking with me.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching.